And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And today, in this fourth segment, we are going to go ahead and recap the games that happened over the weekend. I'm going to do it quickly just because we are rather short on time. And the trend of me always picking, always two teams that I pick end up losing has ended on Saturday. Unfortunately, as it is. There were three teams that ended up losing that I didn't expect to lose. Now, we'll talk about the big one, which was the Clippers beating the Denver Nuggets. Now, I really didn't expect this coming in from Denver, and I did not expect such a great performance coming in from Norman Powell in this game, who ended the game with 37 points. And it was really a very close game all the way down to the wire. The Clippers, they ended up rallying towards the end of the fourth to hold their lead in the end. James Harden ended with 23 points and 16 assists, and Ivica Zubac ended the game with 24 points and 15 rebounds. Now, that was really the only production that the Clippers needed in order to prevail against the Denver Nuggets, because the only player that really played solid in this game and really played very well in this game, the two players actually, were Jokic and Jamal Murray. Now, Jokic ended the game with 41 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists. But again, it really wasn't enough for this team and for this Clippers team, which is very, very surprising. Jamal Murray ended the game with 22 points, and he shot 7 for 14 from the field, which is rather efficient. But when you have Aaron Gordon going 3 for 10 and Michael Porter Jr. going 4 for 13, that is less than ideal for winning a game. And not to mention the biggest problem, I think, with the Denver Nuggets right now being Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook went 0 for 8 in this game. So far, in the last 2 games the Denver Nuggets played, Russell Westbrook has only made 2 shots. 2! So in 2 games, he's made 2 shots. That is bad. That is really, really bad, really inefficient, and that is just hurting this team and dragging this team down to the full potential that everyone knows that they can be at. The team lacks three-point shooting, and that really says a lot when they shot 14 for 35 from 3. But you cannot deny just how much Russell Westbrook, it's not all Russell Westbrook's fault. I'm not here to blame it all on Russell Westbrook, but 2 shots in 2 games? Like, really? That is extreme levels of inefficiency coming from a former MVP and a player that a lot of people really respect. It's really just like, what is that? Like, there's no other way that I could describe it other than, what is that? I've never seen such inefficiency before. Like, what? But that's besides the point. Now, that was, again, another big reason why I thought they ended up losing was because they really just could not hold on to the lead. And they ended up turning the ball over more times than they would like in this matchup. And it was a really close game. It was a really close game up until the very end. It's just, I really did not expect the Nuggets to lose to the Clippers. I also didn't expect the Mavericks to lose to the Phoenix Suns. The Mavs ended up losing 102 to 114 against Phoenix. And I mean, a 40-point game coming in from Luka Doncic, 40 points, 10 rebounds, it still wasn't enough. Kyrie Irving ended the game with 22 points. Klay Thompson ended the game with 19 points, which is, very solid, but Kyrie shot 9 for 22, and Klay shot pretty efficiently. He didn't shoot that efficient from 3, 5 for 12, but still, I really did not expect this coming in from the Suns. And the rest of the bench was less than productive for Dallas. P.J. Washington ended 2 for 10, 1 of 5 from 3. Najee Marshall ended 1 for 5, 0 for 2 from 3. And Jaden Hardy ended 0 for 4 from the field and 0 for 3 from 3. Now on Phoenix's side, Kevin Durant ended with 31 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. Devin Booker ended with 21 points. And what's crazy about this game is that Bradley Beal did not participate and they still ended up winning. Now, you can make the argument that it was because those two players know how to share the ball a little bit better than adding Bradley Beal into the mix, considering how long they've played with each other so far. But again, this was a result that I just wasn't expecting coming in from the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I already talked about the Lakers beating the Kings, so that was one game that I ended up getting right. The Cavs ended up beating the Wizards. I'm not really going to talk about that game because easily we expected the Cavs to win. They won 135 to 116. The Miami Heat, they ended up beating the Hornets 114-106. Not really going to talk much about this game, mainly because we are low on time. Celtics ended up beating the Pistons, obviously. Thunder ended up beating the Bulls, also rather obvious. The Thunder ended up winning 114-95 in this matchup. And SGA ended with 23 points. Chet Holmgren ended with 21 points and 16 rebounds. And Jalen Williams ended the game with 24 points. And again, that's something that was expected. Now, the Grizzlies, they ended up beating the Magic. I thought the Orlando Magic were going to beat the Memphis Grizzlies in this matchup, but that did not be the case. That was not the case at all. Paolo Banchero ended with 16 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Not a very dominant performance as I expected coming in from Paolo. Jalen Suggs ended with 21 points, 6 for 17 from the field, and Franz Wagner ended with 23 points. But on Memphis' side, I mean, one of the key takeaways in this game that I got was that Zach Edey ended up hitting a three-pointer, which is crazy, right? I did not expect him to take a three and let alone make the three, but I believe now he's shooting 100% from the three. Don't quote me on that. Santi Aldama for the Memphis Grizzlies ended with 22 points. Ja Morant ended with 16 points, and Jay Huff ended 7 of 9 from the field with 18 points. And again, I'm going to skim through a lot of these because we are low on time. Now, Timberwolves, they ended up beating the Raptors. I expected that outcome. They won 112-101. And then the Spurs ended up beating the Houston Rockets. I expected Houston to end up winning this game, but that was not the case. Victor Wembanyama ended with 29 points, 7 rebounds. Jeremy Sochan ended with 17 points, 12 rebounds. Chris Paul ended with 3 points, but recorded 9 assists along with that, which is really the big reason why they got him on the roster. And let's see, who else played well? Keldon Johnson ended with 16 points off the bench, along with 8 rebounds. Now, Jalen Green played really well in this game, 29 points, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, but it was ever so slightly, it wasn't enough. Sengun did not play that well in this matchup at all. Victor really took that beating that Sengun gave him last year personally. And let's see, what did he shoot from the field? He shot 2 of 8 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3 with 6 points. And Reed Shepherd ended the game 0 for 2 along with 0 for 1 from 3, which again, not ideal. And Rookie of the Year is still up for grabs. Now, yesterday's game, I got practically everything wrong for yesterday's game aside from the Thunder beating the Hawks. The Thunder ended up winning 128-104. Trae Young ended with 10 turnovers, which was a very inefficient and non-productive performance coming in from Young, which is, he has these games from time to time, but I will say that the Thunder's defense is not something that should be made fun of. SGA ended this game with 35 points, 11 rebounds, and 9 assists, along with 3 blocks and 3 steals. Like, this defense was haggling them the entire game. Now, the rest of the games that I got wrong. The Pacers ended up losing to the 76ers. I expected the 76ers to lose in this matchup, but Maxey scored 45 points, and he took 32 shots. Again, he turned into Kobe Bryant in this season. And this game also went into overtime. Caleb Martin ended the game 6 for 16 with 17 points. And on the Pacers side, Tyrese Halliburton, he ended the game with 22 points, but he shot 8 for 18 from the field. Siakam ended with 17 points, 7 for 11. And really just, it was an unexpected loss that I thought. And not to mention the Pelicans, they also ended up losing, and they lost to the Portland Trailblazers, another unexpected loss. Fernie Simmons ended with 27 points. DeAndre Ayton ended with 17 points and 12 rebounds. And Jeremy Grant ended with 28 points. Pelicans, CJ McCollum ended with 27 points. Zion Williamson only had 14, and Ingram only had 14 as well. And when you have 2 players that have 27 points or more, it's really not ideal, not to mention the rest of the starting lineup having double figures with that as well. Now, another game that really shocked me, the Clippers, they ended up beating the Golden State Warriors. Andrew Wiggins ended with 29 points. Steph Curry ended with only 18 points. And on the Clippers side, Zubac ended with 23 and 18. James Harden ended with 23 and 11 assists. Norman Powell ended with 20 points, and Derrick Jones Jr. ended with 18 points. Now, the final game and the most shocking game, the Nets ended up beating the Bucks in a blowout. The Nets ended up winning 115-102 in this matchup. Cam Thomas ended with 32 points. Dennis Schroeder ended with 29 points. Cameron Johnson ended with 13 points. And really, the Bucks, Giannis ended with 22 points and 12 rebounds, and Damian Lillard ended with 21 points, but the rest of the lineup just wasn't there and wasn't really producing, aside from Bobby Portis, who ended with 16 points and 10 rebounds. I was very shocked at the outcome of this game, and excuse me, for the Bucks, it really all fell apart in the fourth quarter, where they got outscored 32-24 in the fourth quarter, which is honestly the most typical Darvin Ham / Doc Rivers situation ever. So that's all that I have for the weekend and the weekend recap. So now we're going to go ahead and go into the fifth segment where I go over the NBA power rankings of the last week. So I'll be right back after this short break. Be sure to stay tuned.